Well, as you know, if you follow my channel, this South and Central American tank is being filtered by a sump and a SunSun 704B canister filter. And after I've run a canister for a while, I like to do what I call dialing it in, which is to check how it looks after a certain number of months, and that way I'll have a good idea of how long I can let it run. Now that can change over time depending on your feeding, your bio load, right? How many fish you have in the tank, things of that nature. But things are pretty stable in this tank. They haven't changed much. Of course, the fish are growing and requiring a little bit more food over time, but for the most part, it's staying pretty stable. So let's go ahead and crack open that SunSun 704B and let's take a look at how it's holding up, in particular with the use of a pre-filter. I have a pre-filter on it, just like I have on the Fluval the FX-6 that I have on the 300-gallon African Cichlid tank. It's my belief that because of that pre-filter, I am able to run that Fluval for 9 months between cleanings. So it's been 5 months for the SunSun. So let's go ahead and take a look at how it's looking, and let's start off by taking a look at what kind of job the pre-filter has been doing. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All I have here is a piece of matten sponge that I cut. Just made a hole in it. I just cut just a slice in it, and then it took the shape of the end piece. And this is just a piece of leftover sponge from Swiss Tropicals, who cut the sponges for my sumps. Anything extra that they have after they cut your sponges, they send to you, and then you can use it for whatever you want. So let's take a look at what kind of job this has been doing. And keep in mind, the filter's been on there for about 5 months, and I rinse this every 2 to 3 weeks. So it's not like this has been sitting on there for 5 months. So what you're going to see is about 2 weeks worth of the waste that this filter was able to prevent from getting into the filter, or had it break down and become very small so it could go into the filter. One of the things I love about pre-filters is that it will trap pellets and food on the outside, and then the fish will come around and peck it off the filter. That way you're wasting less food, and there's less food going into the canister and rotting away in there. So let's take a look at how much is in here. Okay, that was a fair amount of waste that came out of this, and that's just waste that accumulated in the sponge and on the sponge, and then would break down into very small particles before getting sucked up into the filter, or food that would just attach to the outside and then get picked off by the fish. So, all right, so it's doing a job. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the canister. Let's see if I can do this without getting bit by the Oscar. I'm not sure who nibbles on me. Oh, there we go, I just got a nibble. I'm not able to see from this angle who it is that's nibbling on me when I attach or remove the pre-filter. But now I'm going to have it on film, and so I'll be able to know who the culprit is. Just as sort of a pro tip here, I keep my canister filters in tubs. This is just a Rubbermaid tub, and I set them on top of foam. There's a foam pad down there to dampen sound, and it is perfectly and totally quiet. I also keep inside the tub, on the bottom of the tub, these sensors, and if these sensors are connected by moisture, it sits on the bottom of the tub like this, just like that. And if moisture connects these sensors, an alarm goes off, It's called a watchdog alarm, and it makes a very loud shrill. So if there's ever any kind of a leak issue, I'm going to know about it long before it's a problem, assuming I'm home, right? So at any rate, this is a SunSun 704B. Let's go ahead and get it out of here, out of the tub, and out from under the aquarium, and take a look inside. So you, the fish, and me are seeing the inside of this canister for the first time in roughly about 5 months. Go ahead and pop it open. You can tell it was nicely air sealed by the suction noise it made. This top part does hold a lot of water, so be sure you pour it out. And be careful if you have a unit that has a UV light, not to bang that light against anything, or it will shatter. In my case, I don't use the UV light, so that chamber is just a sealed glass compartment with no light in it, because I don't use the light. That looks pretty good. This top section here is just polishing. Water travels through the SunSun. It goes to the bottom. It goes through the bottom following this track right here. It goes to the bottom of the canister and then is sucked back up to the tank from the bottom up. So what do I have here? I have, these are some Sarah polishing balls laying on top of some matrix that I picked up, and it looks in pretty good shape. That's 5 months of running. 5 months. A very light rinse will make these things like brand new again. I'm not even sure if I'm going to rinse it. It looks so good. Next tray looks like some medium to coarse sponges. You can see there. Again, not in bad shape at all. There's the bottom where you'd expect to see most of the clogging and gunk, right? Because the water's traveling this way. And as you can see, that's in pretty darn good shape. Again, might not even need a rinse. Next tray, a slightly coarser or as coarse sponge. Just pieces of sponge that I shove in there from different projects. Look at the bottom. That's in great shape. And the very bottom tray, which you'd expect to be the most disgusting, I'd expect these sponges not even to look blue. I'd expect them to be completely dark. They have some dark spots on them, but otherwise, look at that. Hardly worth rinsing, really. Here's the water on the inside of it, so you have an idea. I'll dump that out and give the canister a rinse, but that is not bad at all. The truth is, I could have run this canister probably 9 months. I think I'm going to run it the same way I'm running the Fluval, with that pre-filter on it, and run it for 9 months at a time. I'm really impressed with the way it looks. It certainly has some gunk in it, but nowhere near what I think it would have in there if I didn't have that pre-filter catching food and also sort of pulverizing things before they get into the filter. So I'm very, very impressed. I am definitely a pre-filter believer, and you can make your own. If you use medium, a medium sponge, and maybe even a little bit more coarse, maybe 10, maybe a 10 or 20 PPI, and you can also buy them. Aquarium Co-op sells some that are already pre-made that you can also use, or in the case of the FX-6, you can adapt to your application. But there you have it. This is going to be unless I had a lot of fish, or until the time these fish put on a lot of size and require a lot more food, I'm going to go ahead and run this canister for 9 months at a time starting today. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Share your comments below. Let me know your thoughts, especially if you've used pre-filters. And I hope to see you on Saturday at 11 a.m. Central for the Cichlids and Coffee live stream. And if you'd like to support the channel, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe, give it a thumbs up, hit the bell. And if you'd like to take it one step further and help with the creation of future content, consider becoming a member of the Garage Gang. And that is a Patreon monthly supporter. Starts for as little as $3 a month. Details are in the description. Thank you, my friends. See you again soon. Bye-bye.